fellow lovers of love, and thank you for joining us on yet another excursion through the stream of consciousness down the river of tranquility to fill the lake of life with love.
Good evening, fellow lovers of love. Sorry, let me drop the joke right before we came on. I guess I'm not professional enough not to laugh at that. Woo, she got me on that one. Okay, thank you for joining us tonight. It's Lovey had a good week putting the shows together for.
Yes, I did. I produced the show. I picked the questions for the. Very excited.
Lovey found Reddit. She found the Reddit, right? So you went to get some of these things.
Yes, Reddit.
Yes, so we're in trouble. Lovey's on Reddit now, so we're gonna have to. Did you make an account, or did you just kind of go through there on?
I have an account, dude.
No way. Which is it, Lubby or is it Lubbinator or what?
I forget.
No, we'll have to make you account for Lubby or Lubbinator. So,
okay.
Yeah, so it's so you have a professional account. We have to create our own space. That's our next thing, is to get you chatting on Reddit to our listeners.
I'd be happy to.
So, but we have to create a Reddit space, so we'll get to that here as soon as we understand Reddit. But anyway, we're going to jump right in. It's been a long week for me. It's, a week ago I had the eye surgery.
Yes, you've been recovering. You haven't felt well. Two of my grandchildren had COVID, and I was exposed, so we had to kind of be careful.
I mean, I don't feel bad. I've been tired. So, who knows? But I also haven't been sleeping well. So, there's an issue for that. I got lots of stuff on my mind. Head is heavy, who wears the crown, and all that kind of thing. But, life's about relationships. And, sometimes be it your work or your community relationships and those things, they take a lot of your time managing those things. And you have to figure out what to do and how to manage those things. And so, especially when you're, have responsible for people below you and or community, those are difficult decisions, how to move forward. So anyway, and want to point out that just because I could sit here and give good advice doesn't mean I'm necessarily good at following my own advice. I want to point that out. I can sit here and I can talk to people about relationship advice, and it's very difficult to actually pull it off in real life, or to know where to do in real life. So it's very easy for us to sit here and talk in generalities, but we always want to caveat that with that these are very difficult, complex, issues often. And so while we try to be as empathetic and as wide, view it from as many perspectives as we can never know the full story. And so there's devils in the details. So anyway, but it is a nice thing is how to approach life. Your thoughts and your actions follow each other. How you choose to behave and how you choose to think, they matter.
Yes.
And so, it's perspective on life. That's where we try to learn here. Okay. I'm trying to learn every day here as well, just as much as you guys. All right. So where are we starting today, Lovey?
Okay, we're going to jump right in. I called my wife by a different name this morning, and now she's upset. How do I reassure her it was just a brain fart?
Well, if you're older, it should be relatively easy because names get confused and all that kind of stuff. Luckily, it was this morning, and hopefully it wasn't during sex, because if you did it during sex, then you're just in fucking trouble. And there's
yes.
But if you were just like over coffee and you just said a wrong name because you've got 4 kids and there's lots of people on your mind and you just brain farted the wrong name,
I was talking about this with one of my daughters, and sometimes she says the name Matt all the time, all day long at work, and then she comes home and she calls her husband Martin. Matt.
And it's not a Freudian slip. It's just your brain gets wired in a certain way, and so when it's looking for, it's comfortable, and so it's looking for a name that it's comfortable, and so it's just so often. So these things happen. What can you do to reassure her? Well, just be yourself. Just be the kind, compassionate, empathetic human being you are, and
give her a little time.
Yeah. Make her.
She'll get over it.
This is one of those things where you want to do something.
You want to do something
to fix it.
Yeah.
But if you do too much, then they're going to think that there's actually something there to fix when there's really not. It's just a brain fart. So, there's not much to fix here. It's just if the rest of your relationship is solid, there's not much to fix, and she'll get over it. You might have to explain it. Say, I don't know where it came from. No, there may not be an explanation. Where the fuck? I don't know. Maybe you were watching a movie yesterday and it stuck in your head overnight in a dream, and it just popped into you. And so you've got no rational, logical, conscious explanation for why it brain farted, but it just did. Maybe that's what it is. Who knows? But if your rest of your relationship is solid, it'll blow over. Just one of those things.
But if you're older, you should get some leeway, dude.
Yeah, no kidding. Especially if you got like the kids, or if you interact with lots of people all the time. Mixing names up is quite common. So, okay.
Okay. Mom wants me to say Happy Father's Day to stepdad, 50. I, 19-year-old male, don't want to.
Well, at 19, I suppose you don't have to, but you know what? Sometimes you do things because it's good for your family. You can actually mean it. It doesn't necessarily mean that you respect your father. You have a father and all that, but you can still say Happy Father's Day. Especially if he helped raise you part of the time. Show some respect for the effort. You can show respect for the effort. It doesn't mean you have to go out your way to do something big, but it wouldn't kill you to show a little bit of gratitude, unless there's a reason not to. A real reason not to, not just you have conflicting personalities or anything like that. So, sometimes you've got to do things for the greater good, and you know what? In 10 years, you'll appreciate you saying, if you don't say it, and there's no underlying reason to not say it, right? There might be issues where you just, no, you can get it. There could be reasons.
There could be reasons.
But so assuming there's no huge reason, if you don't, you'll regret it in a decade. You just will.
Unfortunately, yes, it will.
So, even if you don't necessarily mean it, saying a few words, what does it cost you? Really? What's it cost you? Again, unless there's a reason. I mean, a real valid reason, not just we didn't get along very well. Personalities differences and that kind of thing. There's still an influence on your life. Just because you didn't feel like just because he doesn't feel like your father doesn't mean he didn't play some role in your evolution as a man. And you should, appreciate that.
Be kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, here's an oddball one.
Yeah.
Is it strange that my girlfriend's sex drive goes up when her mother stays over?
Is it strange? Probably not. Do I understand why? No. I'm not a psychologist. That's something Freud needs to talk about or something. But I suspect it's probably not strange. I suspect there's a psychological reason for it. A little bit of rebellion or something, maybe.
In your face.
Yeah, who knows?
I'm a woman now. I do what I want.
I can do what I want. Yeah, who knows? Yeah. Don't know. Or it could be something completely different, or it could be your imagination. She's not any more frisky when her mother comes over. You just notice it more. It's entirely possible. Because you've got this thing in your head that you shouldn't be frisky when your mother's there. So if she's frisky at all, you're thinking she's more frisky. So
That's an option.
it's entirely possible that it's your perspective, not yours. Your perspective that's wrong, not hers. You might be interpreting. How do you know? Do you keep a freaking chart? Please. If you don't, if it makes you uncomfortable, have that discussion with her. But, you know, or if not, learn to be quiet. Man. You know, it's hardly the worst problem in the world to have. Let's put it this way. That's the biggest problem in your relationship. You're doing good.
But if you feel uncomfortable,
Yeah, have the
then
discussion.
have the discussion. Yes.
Yeah. But don't make it about, just make it about you. Say, I'm uncomfortable. Don't make it about her. Make it about you, because it is. It's about you being uncomfortable. Don't make it about her strange behavior when her mother's there. It's you're uncomfortable being intimate when her mother's there. Make it about that. Don't make it about her behavior. Make it about you.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I don't like my partner's friend and I'm considering leaving. What should I do?
Well, you probably don't like your partner enough. If you truly loved your partner,
Bye, Felicia.
yeah, if you truly loved your partner, let's be honest. If you truly loved your partner, you would accept that you didn't like their best friends. You wouldn't like it, but you would accept it. And since you can't, you don't truly love your partner. It's time for you to move on. Life's like that. You know, you find out where your lines are, and you find this is what happens, right? This is how you decide how relationships are going to work or not. And if it's a deal breaker, then it's a deal breaker. Don't set up for failure. Don't waste your time. Don't waste his time. You know, be kind to everybody. Because you're not going to change. It's not like you're ever going to like them. So, you know, you either have to accept it or you can't. And if you can't, then you move on because it's wrong to make that kind of judgment. So, you know. Anyway. I mean, unless he's like a criminal or a thief or like a crack addict or some shit, I suppose. But I mean, there might be other valid reason, but it didn't say anything like that.
No, I read the full one. There was nothing like that.
So
she just didn't like the guy.
Okay. Well, and you know, it's perfectly acceptable for you to set what your boundaries are.
And he was a best friend, and he spent a lot of time.
And you know, it is perfectly acceptable for everybody to set boundaries, but you know, it's wrong to make people choose.
Yes, you can't make them choose. That's wrong.
That's wrong, and clearly, you don't love him enough to make the sacrifice. So it's time to move on. Okay.
Me and my boyfriend's friend have a good relationship. The only thing is that he would almost always avoid to be alone with me, which is fine because he respects my boyfriend and our relationship. However, last week we were in a group meeting and he was staring at me quite a lot. Afterwards, when we got drunk and my boyfriend left, he kissed me on the forehead. I was kind of confused and surprised because it came out of nowhere. I mean, we were watching TV and talking about the weather. I think maybe it's a gesture of friendly affection? ?
No, he has feelings for you as doing his best to not act on them, but then you went and made a mistake and got drunk. That's what happened. And you know what happens is when you're drunk, your judgment is impaired. It's literally what happens. So that's what happened. Quite frankly.
So now you know this is what happens with him.
Yeah, so this is what happens. So, you know, this is why he's choosing to not spend alone time with you. He's making responsible decisions. You know, who knows?
You can help him.
And maybe he's in a bad spot in his head right now. You know, maybe he's in a bad spot in his head and he's not making good decisions to begin with. And so, you know, this is one of these things where we have to make choices in our lives on, okay, you know, what do I want to do with this? You know, are you going to help him Are you going to make this situation worse? Are you going to make the situation better? Or are you going to just kind of do nothing? And in a particular case, doing nothing may actually be the right course.
Yes. Don't be alone. Drunk with him again.
Yeah. Now you know that there's a reason that he tries not to spend time with you alone. Now you know the reason. You know it, you understand it, and you can actually help with that.
Yes, don't be alone with him.
Because it's hard. It's clearly difficult for him. But he's clearly trying, and if he gets in a time where he's feeling especially lonely or especially vulnerable or something, it's when you do stupid things. It's very human. And so, a peck on the forehead is a great warning sign that, okay, if we let it go any farther, it's going to be, bad things are going to happen. So now, as you know, we're not to let it go any farther. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. It was a warning.
Yeah, it's a big, huge warning sign. It's a big, huge warning sign. Don't go down this road. That's, danger ahead.
Okay, we have an interim manager who makes everyone's life a living hell. Now she is set on not extending my contract, but all my colleagues want me to stay. The thing is, she leaves on July 8th, and my contract is supposed to be extended in August. HR has said that there is time for me to show improvement. I am currently on a burnout schedule due to personal things in my life, but she is telling everyone that I should just look for a new job. What would you do?
Well, if a contract is ending in August, you should be looking for a new good job regardless of what the situation is, right? Because your contract's ending and the economy's in flux, and so you never know if you're going to get back in on or not, regardless of your performance, behavior, or anything else. You may not have the money to hire you back. So part of the thing of being a contract worker or a freelance worker is, being aware of these things. You're a contract worker. You're not a full-time, right? Every 6 months, every 9 months, every year, whatever it is. So, but if she's not there when it's time for your recontract, she doesn't matter. And HR telling you have time to improve. It's their nice way of saying we're not going to pay attention to her. But you can't count on that. HR can't tell you we're not going to pay any attention to her appraisals of you. We know what's really going on. They can't say that while she's still there. So what they're going to tell you is you still have time to improve when she's gone, which means we're not going to pay attention to it's HR speak. If you know HR speak, I've worked with enough HR people. If you know HR speak, you learned how to manage these things. But you can't count on it. You're a contract employee. So you should always be prepared with another job. You should always be looking for another job, regardless. Put your head down, do your work, look for another job. And if you like your job and you get to keep your job in August, great. If not, then you've got other options. That's my suggestion.
Okay. I've recently realized my girlfriend is suffering from depression brought on by childhood traumas and a fear of abandonment. Due to this, she has distanced herself from me and is pushing me away because she says she is no good for me, and ultimately she makes everyone around her unhappy. How can I help her?
All right, sorry, can you read that again? I had an error pop up on my screen. I apologize.
I recently realized my girlfriend is suffering from depression brought on by childhood traumas and a fear of abandonment. Due to this, she has distanced herself from me and is pushing me away because she says she is no good for me. And ultimately, she makes everyone around her unhappy. How can I help her?
You can't. What you can do is create a safe environment where she can help herself. She needs counseling. She needs therapy. Because what she's literally doing is, before she gets abandoned, she's going to end the relationships. And that's what she does. When relationships start to work, they start to get close. It starts to feel like something that can be positive. And so she panics and she ends them herself. She ends them early. That way she's in control rather than feeling abandoned. It's better to feel alone than abandoned in her mind. But she can't get past that without help, and you're not qualified to help. You're qualified to support. But you're not qualified to help. That's not your role. Would you set a broken bone? Maybe in an emergency situation, okay, you might have to, but you're probably going to do it wrong, or it's not going to heal properly. You're better than not, but okay, right? So your task is to get her help, create the environment where she's willing to seek it. That's your role. You have to make her feel safe enough so she can seek it. And my guess is you already have, because that's why she's trying to push you away. She's at the panic stage. She's close. She feels close. She feels connected. And so now she's trying to push you away so she doesn't get hurt. So you've actually made her feel safe. It's a strange thing. Now you have to get her to understand she can help herself. And that's therapy. And there's lots of hotline mental health hotlines. Call any of them. Just search it.
You can do it from home. You can do video. You can do chats now.
Yeah, and it's okay for you to call and say, "Here's what I'm dealing with." And you might need help too, because this is a long, long process, and it's going to be difficult. But if you love her, then you're willing to go through it, right? That's what we do for people we love. We support them during difficult times and during, transitions, and sometimes it takes a long time. And you have to help yourself. Make sure you stay healthy during this process. So, it's okay for you to reach out for help too. And you are. Just seek more professional help than us and Reddit.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying here. It's because, this is a serious issue and we can point you in directions. But, you need professionals on this kind of issue.
We are not counselors.
Yeah. We are people who can, help people make the decision to go see counselors. That's what we can do.
That's what we can do.
Okay.
Okay. I have fallen for a friend. We have never had anything but a platonic friendship and have never pushed things. But lately I see myself falling for her as we spend almost every weekend together. I don't know if it's worth telling her my feelings and losing our friendship, or never saying anything and not knowing what could have been. What do I do?
You have to talk to her. Because otherwise you're not being honest. And how could you have a friendship without honesty? You can't. It's not possible. You never know. She may be having the same conversation in her head. Or not. But you're never going to find out without having the conversation. Some people think fear is a motivator. And it is. But it often motivates us in the wrong direction. You know the right thing to do. You know how to have an open and honest relationship with somebody. And you know how to keep it respectable, if that's the choice she wants. But if you can't have this conversation with her, then you don't really have the friendship you think you have. Because you're not being honest. Now, it may depend. Is she in a relationship? Is she, that kind of thing? Didn't sound like it. There may be other reasons, and you just have to shut up because that's the right thing to do. But assuming you are both, uncommitted.
Sounds like it. Every weekend together.
Yeah. Maybe she's waiting for you to start the conversation. Maybe she's afraid of the same thing. One of you is going to have to get brave. Who knows? Maybe something you look back in 20 years and laugh at. Or, you know, maybe it's in 5 years when you found somebody else, you look back and you can say, well, at least I didn't waste 5 years wondering. The worst thing to do is to not deal with it. So you deal with it one way or the other, right? So have a conversation, assuming she's not in a relationship of some form, and you just have a conversation. And if you have a strong friendship, that conversation will not break it.
No, it won't. No, it won't.
It will not. The honesty will not break a relationship. It will not. It will not. Okay.
Okay, I asked for advice or put something on social media about my opinion, and people just shred into me. My opinions aren't even bad. Like, they aren't racist, sexist, problematic to anyone but myself. And people just constantly hate on me, so I end up deleting everything. I have great self esteem, and now it's just getting torn down by people who don't even know me and judge me from not even reading the whole thing properly. Should I continue to post on social media?
Um, well, if you're going to post on social media on things like that, then you have to accept that there will be people who are going to disagree with you and have issue with you, with your opinions. If you ask for advice, people are going to give you advice that you're not going to like, and you have to be prepared for that. It's not a social media. It's a wonderful thing, but it's a tool, and like any tool, its use is its usefulness to us is all dependent on how we use it. A hammer can build a house or it can break windows. It's the same tool. So the tool is how you use it. The choice is you have to accept the consequences that come around with choosing to use your tool. And if you're going to post to social media, to Twitter or stuff like that, or to Reddit or to wherever you post things, then you have to accept that there's going to be responses to it. Some of those responses aren't going to be what you expect, because the world's a wonderfully diverse place. And in today's modern world, where any opinion that doesn't reflect your own gets labeled with hyperbolic labels, we'll call it, politically hyperbolic labels that are now meaningless because they're overused. You just have to learn how to let those roll off your back, because they're not actually designed to impart truth. They're designed to get you to shut up. So
People are mean.
yeah, but the truth is the number of people that are mean is actually quite small. They're just very loud.
Oh, sometimes it's like high school.
Yeah, it is. Well, and you've got to remember, half the kids, half of them are high school. The internet is flooded with high school kids. Imagine that. High school and college kids. It's going to be a little juvenile around there, It just is.
Okay, my manager has yet to approve my requested time off, but I need the time off, and I requested it last week. Do I ask her to approve it, act oblivious and not turn up? Or do I see what she says and call in sick if she rejects it?
Well, you ask her if she has approved it, for one. I mean, I don't know if your schedule's up yet, and then you deal with it however your schedules are. Let's go up. It's bouncing around. And so, well, you have to deal with these things forwardly. You can't wait because, maybe she's waiting, hoping you forget it. So you ask her about it. Say, hey, did you approve my time off? She'll say yes or no, and then you have to make a decision about what you're going to do. Because you call in sick on a day you requested off and they gave you no. It's not like a normal calling sick day.
They know.
Yeah, they're not stupid. And, so. But it's also, do you care? If companies want loyalty, but aren't willing to show you any, at some point you don't care. So it depends on the company culture. A good company culture would have given you the day off. So it's hard to know. Maybe you just don't care. It's hard to know. So many company cultures these days are terrible. They're got bad leadership. So, and it kind of sounds like this is one of them if she hasn't responded to you by now. But she may just be busy and forgotten to notify you, so you just have to ask her. Okay.
I, 21-year-old female, just broke up with my boyfriend, 21-year-old male, yesterday. He's a real sweet person, but he had his moments where I hated him, which made me love him less every time. The thing is, I've been thinking about breaking up for a long time, but when I tried, I somehow couldn't break up and get back with him. This time, I want to make it final. Even though I don't love him, I still care for him, and I feel like if I'm not careful, I will eventually text him about this. I miss him a lot. He is a good person, but we're just not made for each other. What do I do?
What do you mean? What do you do? It's you already know what to do. You just have to actually follow what you know. I mean, you're asking a magic bullet. How do I get over these feelings of comfort that this person provided for me? And I know I don't love them, but I would felt safe around them, at least to some extent. And I miss them because I was used to them being around, so I miss them. But I don't love them. So then you know what to do. You go build your life. You focus on you. You can't have a good relationship without a good you. And so in order to get over this period, you focus on you. Take a pottery class. I don't know, take a coding class. Who knows? Whatever you're interested in. Whatever. If there's something you want to do one of those mud races things, go do a mud race or something. Do something that pushes you and challenges you and focuses on you. Because that's what you want at this stage. That's how you get through these things. You become the better you. Instead of focusing outward, focus inward. I miss them. Well, I'm going to go play some miniature golf. Or whatever it is. If you've got a hobby, focus on becoming better at your hobby. Start a podcast. Who the hell knows? Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. If you've got some small dream that you've been wanting to chase and haven't done it, chase it. If you've got something you've wanted to learn and haven't had the time, learn it. Now's the time. Now's the time to make you a better you. It's the only way through.
Do we have time for one more short one?
Yeah.
My crush just told me that if her dad doesn't go to her wedding, she would want me to walk her down the aisle. What in the blue blazes do I say to that?
Sometimes when you love something, you have to let it go. And if you truly love her and she's comfortable with you being the one to walk her down the aisle, then you're going to have to find some way to transfer that affection you have, the romantic affection you have, to a genuine affection of her as a human being. And you do it because it's going to make her happy. And ultimately, is that what you want? If you genuinely love somebody, you want them to be happy. If that's with you, it's with you. If it's with somebody else, it's with somebody else. And if having you walk her down the aisle makes her happy, makes her send her off into the rest of her life a little happier, then you shut up and do it, because that's what men do. We don't whine and cry like little bitches when other people are around. We do that by ourselves at the bar. It's not that we don't do it. We do it at our computers. We do it at the bar. But for that time, for the people we care about, we suck it up. Because why wouldn't you? You care about them. You want them to be happy, don't you? Isn't that ultimately what you want? It's not selfish. Transfer to that. You're caring for her. You can care for her enough to let her go and to help her send her off happy. You can do it. You'll be a better man for it as well. Is there anyone? Got another one?
A long one.
That's okay. Hit it.
My husband and I have been together for a little under 3 years and have been married 1 full year this month. He is cheating on me for at least the 3rd time. I'm not sure if he has met up with anyone in real life, but I know he has before. He promised to stop, but obviously hasn't, and I don't even think he can. Our baby just turned 5 months old, and the whole time I've been a stay-at-home mother. I need advice on what to do because I'm scared to leave, but I know it's the right thing for my daughter and myself.
Well, you got to get a lawyer. Because you know it's the right thing to leave, but you've got to do it. It's not even necessarily carefully because it didn't sound like you were worried about violence or anything, but you've got to secure your financial future. And, if you can afford to be a single home parent, well, then you can probably afford to help, financially support his family. But, your life's going to change. It's going to change drastically. And you're probably right. You probably can't stop, and you probably do need to move on. And so that probably is the right decision. But you need to put your support group in place before you do that.
Definitely. Tell your family.
Yeah. Put your ducks in a row. You don't have to do it in a panic. It doesn't seem like you're panicking. You just go about it. Just go about.
Disgusted.
Just put it in place. Put your stuff in place, and then have the discussion later. My guess is he's probably not going to want to, be the full-time parent anyway. So it's probably not going to be much of a fight. That part of it. But, you never know. These things can always go sideways. So have your ducks in a row, and then do what you need to do. You already know. You know the right thing to do. You just need to make sure you have your support structure in place before you do. That's the only thing.
A good lawyer is worth their weight in gold. I've been divorced twice. They were worth every time.
So, yeah, because then they get to take a lot of the pressure. They get to do the paperwork.
Yes, they do. They get to take the brunt of all of it. Really, all you have to do is say, "Talk to my lawyer. I can't talk to you. I'm sorry."
Yeah. Well, and it's not just a lot of the.
You can't make an agreement outside of what your lawyer says. Your lawyer is handling that. That's why you're literally what you're paying them for.
Well, so you're also paying them to deal with all the little technical details that would drive you crazy while we're in the middle of going through this emotional thing. So, just get your support structure in place, and then you do what you need to do. And you probably didn't need us to tell you that, but what you need to do is someone to reinforce that what you already know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's going to be difficult, but you already know that. So, is there any more on there?
Mm-mm. No. We're done.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sweet. All right. Well, then that's it. I want to thank you guys everybody for joining us tonight. Thank you, Tim, for watching. Tim said hello earlier in the show, and I didn't catch it. So we want to say hi to Tim. Tim Everett said hello, you too.
Hey, Tim.
And it's all about managing your relationship and still manage your relationships. So I'm not entirely sure. It was probably earlier in the conversation.
Oh, we missed it, yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, I missed the little notification. I'm still learning this thing, and now I can actually see. And anyway, it's like I said, it's been a long week. It's been a long year. But we're still here. We survived it, and we keep plugging on. So anyway, for you all, for me and Lubby, we want to thank you for joining us tonight. We want to remind you can join us on today's Tuesday, Thursday, I don't know what we've got planned for Thursday. I don't
know.
I don't have anything planned for Thursday. But anyway, we'll come up with something good for Thursday, and we'll see you then. So for me and Lubby, thank you for joining us tonight, and please remember to love everybody.
Good night.